Everyone, welcome to my tile tip series. Today we're going to talk about pre-planning. For those who don't know me, I'm Cody with Up to Code. Thanks for tuning in. So with pre-planning, there's a lot of things to keep in mind before you even start tiling. As you can see, we've already done our homework and our thinking. The things you want to just check in advance are, you want to check your tub for level. Almost guaranteed your tub will never be level. If you're installing your own tub, make sure that the whole perimeter is as close as possible, because then you don't have to taper cut those first row of tiles. Now this series is a 5-part series. It's all just a bunch of quick tile tips. So I won't cover everything about tile, but I think it's going to be a lot of information. So if you're tiling for the first time, it's going to be good. So yeah, you just want to check your tile and your tub for level. You want to check it for all dimensions. So you want to check it for level here, and we want to check it for level there. The reason we have the tape on here today is because this tub didn't come with the plastic film, so we just want to be careful and not scratch it. We'll remove that at the end of the work day, just so we don't have residue left on there. So in this particular tile setup, this back wall was leaning quite a ways out. So you just want to check all your walls for level. You don't really have to, yeah, so this one is actually leaning in. And so that goes to show that when Rudy, my brother Rudy's tiling it, and he's also filming right now, he did his sidewalls first, which you normally wouldn't do, because now you're looking at the grout line right here. But because this wall is leaned out, it's easier to hide these grout lines first. And then because this wall is plumb and this wall is plumb, then this cut will be square and these cuts will be square. So it's just easier. If he would have done this wall first, then the side walls would all be taper cuts and they'd have to be a lot more deadly. So for everything to line up. The other thing you want to check is for bows. So you want to make sure that there's no hump in the wall. This one's pretty straight. There's a little baby hump in there. And you want to check that up and down, left to right, back and forth, everywhere. Because a hump in the wall can really mess you up, especially on the Schluter, which we have a whole video dedicated to Schluter. But if this wall has a big hump, and when you're looking down the tile in a situation like this, you don't want to see a bow in the tile, you want them straight. Especially with brick pattern, you have to have them straight. So if this had a bow, this tile would actually be sticking past the Schluter. So just things to think about. This wall actually has a slight bow in, which is easier to deal with because we can build the mortar out more in the middle, push the tile tight to the wall here, and then we want to make the tile flush out here. The other thing, if you're really smart and thinking ahead, we're going to include this in the Curdy portion of the tip video too, a separate video, but my brother Matt, who's like the ultra pro tile setter, he'll actually plan his Curdy overlaps to be in a point where if there is a bow in the wall, he can hide the overlap there. Because an overlap always builds the material outward. So you'd never want to put an overlap on something that was bowing outward because it'll exaggerate that bow. But if it's bowed inward, you can do the overlap and it's not going to harm you any. Rudy planned his Curdy as well. There's a little bow where the drywall dishes out at the top, so he ended his Curdy a little bit lower or well above the shower head. And maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But it's just good thinking and good ways to plan ahead is just be mindful of all those things. So other things to pre-plan for, we always like to mark out our center lines. So Rudy has a center line marked out there. He has a center line marked out there. They're always perfectly plumb. Your Schluters are always perfectly plumb. That's in the Schluter video. Also just basically laying out everything based on your tile size. Sometimes it'll work good if you have, let's say, you have 24 inch of width and you have 3 8-inch tiles, making sure that it works perfectly, or you have to cut a little bit of the tile off and you're not left with a little sliver or a nugget. Brick pattern is kind of tricky to avoid nuggets, but that's all to do with just pre-planning, thinking ahead. Here what Rudy did is he made it look like this tile was one tile, right? He didn't do a big tile here and a big tile there. He did a small and a big, so it looks like one regular tile. And then he did a big and a small there, small, big. So it just, yeah, otherwise what happens is you'll have a small and a small together and a large together, and it doesn't look very good. Let's jump over to the other shower and I'll show you a few things to think about for niches. For this niche, I know that I'm using 12 by 24 tiles and they're gonna lay horizontally, so they're 12 inches high. So I set the height of this niche in advance so that as I'm coming up, I don't have a grout line that ends right here with a little 1-inch nugget of tile. I planned it so that right about here is a grout line. I cut an L-shaped piece out of this tile, and then the next row above, I cut an L-shaped piece out of this tile. But just, you always want to avoid those nuggets. And same for this wall over here. Let's say we want to go 4 feet wide with our tile. You just want to make sure that you don't go 4'2" and then with 2 2-foot tiles, you don't have a nugget. You always just want to keep the size of your tile in mind when you're planning out the widths and the sizes in your layouts. Sometimes if you have glass corner shelves that you want to install, I like to felt marker or just label where you want those shelves, because you typically install them on a grout line. So just think ahead and make sure to mark the wall, because it's so easy to just run past those shelves and then you totally miss this. You miss the opportunity to install those. So yeah, it's always good just to think ahead. Pre-planning is super important, not only for tile, but any job. That's it for this video. Stay tuned for all the other tile tip videos, and we're gonna keep coming at you with those. It's not covering everything, but it's enough to give you some information to help you out at home. I want to note one more thing. If you guys want to support the channel, I know some of you who follow me appreciate all the content. The best way to help us out is if you need to buy anything through Amazon, you shop on it, doesn't matter what it is, check in the description below on this video or any video on our channel, and there'll be links to our Amazon affiliates. So if you're clicking through Amazon and you click through those and then buy something, doesn't matter if it's a tool or something totally random, we'll get a small percentage of that as an affiliate. And so that's the best way for you guys to help support the channel. And you know, I know you appreciate the videos, but I'd appreciate you doing that as well. So thanks. Everyone, welcome to my tile tip series. There's a good looking son of a right there. Another thing